Hey there, everybody. Welcome. This is our new edition of Big Brother 23 live feed spoilers. We are a little more than 24 hours out from the latest eviction show where Brent may be getting evicted from the game.
Oh, he's getting evicted from the game, and I couldn't be happier about it, especially after hearing some more of the comments that he's made to Alyssa. I'm over him.
We
Go home.
we have another further example in this video about why Brent is the worst, why he is getting evicted, why Alyssa is taking great pride in evicting him. All will be made clearer. And also, we have some more Target discussion about next week because that seems to be the only thing that matters now in the house.
Yeah, and it's a little more exciting because it has sort of been people know who's going home, and this time it seems to really depend on who gets HOH, on who's going to end up being targeted.
All right, well, before we get into anything more here, why not hit that subscribe button every day? Jess and I were here. We're talking about Big Brother. We're also talking about other shows like American Horror Stories, which we'll have a new review of tomorrow.
Also follow us over on Instagram. It's the Instagram plug. Matt and Jess TV. A friend of ours sent us a money tree as sort of a home, welcome home type gift. So I put a picture of that up there. And his name is Jacques Laplante.
We couldn't let Jacques Laplante go as a name.
No, it's such a good name. I love it.
Wait, do we still have Bonjour written on Mr. Plantacular back there, or did you move it? I can't see.
It's right there.
Okay, I am
Bonjour.
blind, everyone. Bonjour. All right, well, let's say au revoir to Brent in the
Bye-bye.
game. This dude is going. Nothing has changed over the past, 24 hours since we've been on here.
No, I mean, he isn't too happy or comfortable in the spot that he's in. He's just, I don't know. I think he's starting to look a little afraid, to look too paranoid. He's done a lot of campaigning, so I think he's just taking a step back. Because if he does too much, I mean, it could hurt him.
He is totally now in the play it cool. I'm cool. I'm gonna play it cool. People like me. They'll keep me. He seems to be at like this point in the process where I don't want to say he's in denial, but it feels like he is very much in the okay, I'm just gonna be myself now, and I'm gonna make sure that nobody thinks I'm getting too crazy here.
No, so instead he decides to insult Alyssa, who is a vote or could be a vote, by telling her that the only thing she's ever worked is a golden shovel, implying that she is a gold digger. And it is so gross. Like, it's so gross. And you guys know I'm not the biggest Alyssa fan, but yeah. I'm not. I just, this behavior from Brent is just, it's really gross. Just don't. You don't really know her. You've been in the house with her for 21 days.
Yeah.
It's like, it's nothing. You don't know this person.
And here's what's going to be really extra irritating is when Brent gets out of the house, I'm sure people will send him clips of saying stuff like this or whatever. And then he's going to respond and be like, oh, that was a joke. You don't know how to take a joke. Then that's your fault. Well, Brent.
It's not a joke. That's the thing about these specific types of sexist jokes. They're not jokes. And that's what has been sort of really frustrating about this season. It's a joke to Brent, but it's really demeaning to women. So I'm off my soapbox now, but Brent, go home. Just stop it.
I don't understand it. I don't know if he's never been with someone who has challenged him, which I find hard to believe that nobody in Brent's life has ever been like, oh, maybe you shouldn't say these sort of things. They're demeaning. They're awful. And he still does it. I don't know if he just doesn't care.
I don't know, but clearly from the way that he's been talking this time, he just doesn't seem to really understand women or how to talk to women. He acts like he gets lots of women, so I kind of thought that he would have a bit of a more soft touch with this type of stuff. But he's on the block, he's in danger of going home, so he decides to say this to Alyssa. I didn't understand. What are you doing?
I also, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, not only is it incredibly demeaning and sexist, but it's also Alyssa, like, helps to run her own small business.
I know. That was the other thing. I'm just kind of like, she's an entrepreneur, which is a very
Yes.
difficult hat to wear. We both wear this hat as well. It takes a lot of hours, a lot of time, a lot of ambition. It is not easy. It's the whole thing is just so frustrating.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. But everybody will get there. Brent will get his comeuppance tomorrow. He will have his walk of shame out of the Big Brother house. I think I think it's probably going to be unanimous. There's not a lot of hinky vote talk going on right now.
No, I don't want him to have any hinky votes. He needs to just go.
Yeah, he needs to just go and be done with it. And,
Yeah.
Brent makes us pine for the days of Frenchie, where, you know what? Frenchie was not great. He was not even good. But at least Frenchie was a fun disaster to watch. Like, I enjoyed the just dumpster fire of his HOH reign.
Okay, so we all know that Brent is leaving tomorrow.
Yes.
So going forward, Alyssa and Sarah Beth have both mentioned the idea of targeting Hannah, which I'm not that excited about. I really like Hannah. I mean, some people in the house think that she's a bit of a floater. I don't really see it that way. I see that she has been playing a really good social game. And I know that in the new way of playing Big Brother, wins are the big thing, but social game is just as important.
This is interesting because, as fans, we all sort of come up with our own sort of rooting interest in the people who we identify as good players. And sometimes this means that, our favorites start fighting and then we find ourselves enormously conflicted because I love Sarah Beth. She's like one of my favorite people this season. I also really like Hannah. And that's just the idea of Sarah Beth going after Hannah. It makes me so sad. And then at the same time, I hate to say it, but I kind of get it because I feel like Sarah Beth and Hannah are kind of similar in a way where I don't think either one of them would put up with a lot of stuff. It's like, I think they're both confident in what they believe in.
Yeah, and I mean, seeing Hannah getting closer to Derek X, I'm sure that is starting to get into people's minds that they may be starting to be looked at as a duo. Nobody wants that.
No, like that is really, really dangerous. And if there's any sort of silver lining for Hannah coming up, it's probably that she would be up on the block versus Whitney. I mean, Whitney, we have talked aplenty about Whitney as a possible nominee moving into the next week.
Yep.
Xavier, he had a chat with all of us which, by the way, thank you, Xavier. You have found a way to monologue to us without getting...
It's the Xavier hug.
We will all give you the Xavier hug for number one, talking to us, and two, finding a way to do this that does not get you caught, which is very important.
Yep.
But he made it clear that he feels probably okay with Hannah going on the block. He doesn't like it, but, she's kind of like the honorary member of the Cookout, and the Cookout can all sort of rally to save her.
Yeah, I mean, she's at the bottom of the Cookout. She's not really part of it, but, if they can keep her, sure. But if they can't, it is the way that it is. They still have the numbers to move forward.
The interesting thing, though, about some of these Hannah whispers is that even if it's just like you're kicking like a little snowball down a hill, it can just start to roll, and then it becomes like this giant snowball that's gonna like crush everything in its path.
Yes, it becomes the Derek X snowball, the same thing, where he was no real threat when it all of a sudden started to be that everybody wanted him out that first week, and for no good real reason, just a couple little whispers, and then it turned into a giant problem.
I hope that, this can be a good snowball, as weird as it is. There's good snowballs, right? The kind you have like a snowball fight with
No,
your
that's
friends.
not fun.
It can be fun. It's just you got to have the right environment. You got to have the right...
This is because Matt is from Texas. So when he came up to Canada for the first time, he was out in the snow being like, snow, amazing. And I'm just like, I need to stay inside. It is cold. I am over it. Snow, everything. 0 out of 10.
Snow is like a 7 out of 10. It's really fun in small doses, but okay.
You eventually got over it.
Eventually. That is the operative word. But the snow here, though, for Derek X is that he can kind of sense things starting to move a little bit, and he can sort of start to wonder, okay, is Hannah gonna be a little bit in trouble? What can I do in order to help Hannah? How can I make sure that she is okay? And I think for him, a lot of that is, okay, well then maybe I need to go ahead and try to win this next HOH, or somebody in my team needs to win the next HOH. And it's funny, we were talking the other day about how nobody wanted to win this HOH.
Yeah, Derek X is concerned for his team.
Yeah.
Like, he really is looking to win this HOH, hoping that somebody on his team is going to win this HOH. He is getting worried about his team.
Yeah, and you should be. And at this point, I think they said at the start of this, the team's run for 4 weeks, and then it's kind of over. So it kind of makes sense, at least for one more week. Hope someone on your team wins it so that you can just be safe, and then you can get to the next phase of the game.
Absolutely. I think that this is an important HOH to win because of that.
Yeah, and it seems like the Kings may also now be in a position where they're gunning for this next HOH. Like, well, I don't even know why I'm saying if. When Brent gets evicted tomorrow night.
You pulling the Derek F there?
Yeah, I'm pulling a Derek F, except I actually mean to say when I'm saying it. But when Brent goes,
Yep.
the Kings are the only team that has everybody left.
Yep.
And if you are one of the Kings at this point, you probably got to be thinking, oh no, people are really going to pay attention to this. They're going to cut off one of our numbers. One of us should probably win the next HOH.
Yeah, because even though the teams are going to be disassembled to some degree, I mean, it is Big Brother. So who knows if Julie's going to come on and be like, and now the next twist. Whoever has 4 people that are still on their team gets a special prize. Who knows what's going to end up happening, right? You have to expect the unexpected. So cutting down that team is something that I'm sure people will look at, regardless if they're being dismantled or not.
There are so many reasons to go after the Kings. Like, for one, Xavier, he's really good. He just won HOH. He's a threat. We know Brent wants to go for Xavier, not that that matters.
Yeah, Sarah Beth is really well liked by everyone. Christian and Alyssa, they're in a showman's type deal together. They're very tight. I mean, this team is really stacked.
Yeah, I would go after, I've already said this, but I would go after Christian and Alyssa in like a real heartbeat. And it seems as though at least Whitney is on board wanting to target the Kings. And I'm not saying I'm rooting for a Whitney HOH. I'm not a big Whitney fan in the game, but I do want to see unpredictability. Like, that's what makes Big Brother fun. And I think having different outcomes after so many weeks of kind of having expected outcomes could be really good for this season.
Yeah, we need something a bit different to happen in this next HOH. It has been very predictable. I mean, there are some good game players. There has been some fun moves, but there's also been a lot of predictability about this season so far.
Now we get to one of these good game players, because I think we're all going to have a lively debate here together about what Tiffany decided she was going to do.
Yep.
So Tiffany has this conversation with Christian yesterday, and she basically says that if her, Claire, Kylan, nobody on that team, that they win HOH, they may have to nominate one of the Kings, because if we all recall, they have the Royal Flush Alliance, or who cares, it may not even last that long, but they need to hide and disguise it however long this is supposedly going to be important in the game.
Yes, and she's not wrong, but she can choose wisely about it to pick somebody who's just very well liked and very well protected, because she is part of the Cookout. She does have those types of numbers. There are ways to do this where you look like you're putting up a king, but really you're not.
Yeah, like if I was Tiffany, I just wouldn't have said this at all. Like, I would have just been like, you know what? I'm just going to throw the competition. I'm not going to because who's going to send home Tiffany next week? I mean, they should.
Some people are starting to sniff out what is going on. We know that Derek X has recently been like, Tiffany, she's a really good liar, and she's been making a lot of connections. Things are starting to unravel a little bit for Tiffany, and that people are starting to notice. So could this blow up in her face? Sure.
Yeah.
However, her and Christian have been building a bit better of a friendship in the game. We saw her doing his hair and having them sort of get a better, closer connection. As of right now, I don't think that it's that bad of a move. I think she has built enough trust with him to keep working on that trust. She can't just have just the cookout. She does need to have a little people outside of it as well for the just in case, and so that she will be okay.
Think what probably works out for her in this instance is that if I am like looking up paranoid Big Brother players in the dictionary, I don't think I'm going to find Christian's picture. I think Christian under the dictionary right now, it's like a couple of different things. It's like number one, Big Brother's answer to Joey Amazing from Survivor. They have the same hair. And then number two, it is just a picture of Alyssa.
Yeah, that's the thing is I think Christian feels pretty confident that he's got some good relationships. And
Yeah.
I think that he does consider Tiffany one of those good relationships. So continuing to build on that, I think that that's okay because I think it's real.
Yeah, I think Tiffany is going to be fine right now, but I'll also give Tiffany, I mean, I know we give Tiffany a lot of credit here, but come on, how deserved is it?
100%, 10 out of 10. She's playing a really good game.
Like she even last night smoothed things over a little bit with Azza, and like they had a lot of that cookout tension we talked about a couple of days ago.
Yeah, and they talk some stuff out. It seems like they're on better terms and sort of realize that the strength of the cookout is that there are a lot of players on there that all have different strengths and play the game differently, and that's what makes this alliance as good as it is.
And that's why I think, I'm not saying there's a 100% chance that they're going to go the distance here or anything, but I think there's a really good chance they're going to make it really far, because I just think even if they don't always get along, even if they don't always have the same opinions, like we even saw this with Xavier this week when I was like, put me on the block, and he's like, no, I don't think they're going to nominate each other if they're in power. And I think as long as you just don't do anything ridiculous to your own alliance, like you're going to be all right for a while.
The only thing I worry about a little bit is with Azza because she is so close to Brittany and that, you know, and then Derek F, he's probably a little bit closer to the bottom of the cookout as well. I could see these three kind of breaking off into something smaller and tighter.
You know, I think we're 17 minutes in, and that's the first time we have mentioned Brittany in this entire video.
She's not going home.
Yeah, like, what? How often is it that you have someone on the block? And I know we talked about Brittany a lot, like, a couple of days ago, but it's just like, there's nothing going on here. There's, like, no substantial campaigning. There's, like, no debate. It's just, she's just there.
Yeah, and a lot of it for her is because Brent is campaigning by insulting people that could vote for him. It is very strange. She really doesn't need to do a lot. I mean, she needs to do a little bit so she doesn't look too comfortable on the block. But I mean, I think everybody's just so irritated with Brent that it just doesn't matter what she does.
This is Wednesday, and with that in mind, I'm sure both Brittany and Brent will have their separate pushes. They'll go around, they'll talk to people. I'm going to be really curious to see, because everybody, I don't know, I think people want to look good to the outside world, and they think breaking the news to people is a good thing. I'm just curious to see if somebody is going to completely ruin what hope of a blind side we have over the next 24 hours.
Yeah, I don't know why people in the house think that. If you've watched the show and you've been on the other side of it, you know how fun it is for all of us to watch a blind side. We don't care if you're the good guy, letting them know. Like, that can matter for a jury vote. Yeah. But Brent is not going to jury. He is going home.
Yes. The last thing I'll say at this is that people adore Dr. Will. Dr. Will was not nice to people all the time in Big Brother. He was not thinking about what other people felt like.
No, he wasn't. However, he was able to get away with a lot more because he has legitimate charisma, which is few and far between with people in life. I think I've met like one actual person in life that has a charisma like that, where you're just kind of like, whatever you want. Okay, no problem. And a whole bunch of people all feel the same way around that person.
Yeah.
Will is one of those people that he can get away with saying some stuff, but because he just has charisma, people are like, oh, Will.
All right, well, nobody is saying, oh, Brent. What
No, he has no charisma.
No. All right.
The only thing you ever worked is a golden shovel. Get out of here. Go pound sand.
Yeah.
We are 19 minutes in. Go Pounce Ann.
Who even says that? I've never heard the words golden shovel in my life. But
It's so rude. Like, oh my goodness, it is so rude.
all right, well, what do you want to see happen over the next 24 hours? Give us your thoughts, your predictions, your subscribe button presses, if you would be so nice, but also,
Yeah, we just hit 54,000
Yeah.
subscribers. Thank you for everybody who has hit that subscribe button and helped us reach that goal.
all right, well, thank you guys so much. Check out our coverage of Power Book 3, American Horror Stories. We'll see you here next time.